Hewitt is in Spain, drinking sangria, chilling out, kicking it old school. I'm Kurt Schlichter, senior columnist for Town Hall, noted Los Angeles trial lawyer, retired United States Army colonel, and honored to have Steve Scalise on the line. Congressman Scalise, how are you today?
Hey, Kurt, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Let's get right to it. For so long, so many of us conservatives have been complaining and whining and tired of House Republicans not getting in there in the fight. And then yesterday, we saw them finally strike back. What got them going?
Well, I think you see the same frustration that a lot of us see is that, they've been trying to impeach Donald Trump since day one. They just hate the fact that he won the election, and he won in a duly elected race, and we're going to have another one next year. That's where you hash this out. But they keep going on, the Mueller investigation, and then the Schiff sham. I mean, this literally is a Soviet-style star chamber that Adam Schiff is running. And so we had enough and said, we're going down there. We're going to try to get into the hearing and see what's really going on behind closed doors with this secret show that he's running. And it was amazing how we had a large group of members, very, in a very civil way. We weren't going in there to try to disrupt things. We wanted to see what they were doing. And it was amazing how once we walked into the room and we were able to somehow get past the doors and the secret, things they were doing, he literally looked at all of us sitting there. We were just going to listen to the hearing, and he took the witness and he ran out of the room, and it shut things down for the morning.
Well, Adam Schiff is hardly a profile in courage. My favorite part of it, Congressman Scalise, was how some of the people may have brought in cell phones into the skiff, and suddenly the Democrats were really, really upset about classified material being potentially compromised. Imagine the outcry if somebody had taken classified material and put it on a server.
Yeah, well, they're looking for anything they can right now. As I say, they're grasping at paper straws. But the cell phones, once the members got in and they said, oh, you can't have cell phones in, everybody gave the cell phones to staff, and they took the cell phones out. But the irony of that is Adam Schiff started the meeting by saying it was not a classified briefing, not classified. And that's the only reason you go down in that skiff, what they call it. It's for classified briefings. And so begs the question, if it's not a classified briefing, if they're attempting to build a case to impeach a president of the United States, why are they doing this in secret? Why can't the public see this? Not just me or other members of Congress. Why can't you see it? The press, people back home, like has been done in every other impeachment inquiry. And so that really shows you there's something sinister going on, the secrecy of this whole thing, where they're trying to do it one-sided, where only Adam Schiff can call witnesses. Again, never before an impeachment inquiry was it that kind of one-sided, I'm going to build my own case on my own terms. They don't even let the other side call witnesses. What is this that they're running?
Well, let's get down to basics. These guys are going to vote articles of impeachment simply because they have a majority. Do you agree with that premise?
I do.
Okay, so it's done. Are any Republicans, any yellow belly reptile-like Republicans, going to actually vote for this sham?
No, I don't see that, and you saw that in the resolution that we had the other day to condemn Adam Schiff for the way that he's running this, saying misleading things in the press, his opening statement where he read a false narrative, something that didn't exist, presenting it as it was, the transcript of President Trump and Zelensky. Not one Republican went astray there. I think the Democrats that are in these swing districts are just looking for an excuse to vote yes because they're afraid of AOC. This is what's really going on. This all started with a tweet from AOC threatening her Democrat colleagues, Pelosi and the others, saying that why aren't they moving impeachment? And then literally 3 days later, Nancy Pelosi calls for an impeachment inquiry. And so the tail's wagging the dog on their side. The most radical elements of their base want to impeach the president because they don't agree with the 2016 election. And look at the author of the articles of impeachment, Democrat congressman, who said, if we don't impeach Donald Trump, he'll win re-election. That's what this is about. They're trying to stop his chances of winning re-election. That's not why you have an impeachment. It's because of high crimes and misdemeanors, and there are none. They've never laid out any. They don't care. They want to impeach him because they're afraid of their most radical elements of their base, and that's not the way it's supposed to happen.
Well, we know what the Democrats are going to do. You just told us your expectation that the Democrats will pass articles of impeachment. Our listeners are really concerned about what Republicans are going to do. Because I got to tell you, Congressman Scalise, some Republicans are soft, and we're tired of it. Would you say that this Star Chamber process, this due process joke, has hardened the hearts of some of these weak hearts?
I think what it's done is showed our members that they don't want facts. They're not looking for the facts or seeing if something was wrong that was done out there. You had the Mueller investigation for that. 22 months, $28 million, 2,800 subpoenas. And they found nothing, not one charge. And they still haven't gotten over that because they thought that was going to be their ticket to impeachment. And so they're just meandering around on a witch hunt looking for something. That's what this is about. It's not going to have legitimacy. Whatever Adam Schiff produces is something he already baked. He's baked this cake, and now they're just going to put some cherries and some toppings on it and try to sell it as an impeachment document. But it's not. It's a one-sided sham. Again, so maybe in the Soviet Union, this is how they would do things. Not in the United States of America.
Well, let's focus on the Republican caucus, Congressman Scalise. How is this process, which is a due process joke? It's really dangerous. It's really destructive. What effect is that having on some of the Republicans who are frankly soft?
Well, look, I mean, they're going to have very selective information. One of their strategies, by the way, and we've seen this from day one, is to lay out a false narrative, make a false accusation against the president. The press goes along with the narrative because they always use some innuendo. They've got the whistleblower. So you've got this whistleblower that's presented as an independent, arbitrary voice of reason. We find out later the whistleblower, so-called whistleblower, has a political bias, doesn't like the president. We don't even know what ties this whistleblower has to Joe Biden because they want to hide the whistleblower. And so people are watching this and they're saying, okay, what kind of document are they going to produce? And so I just hope my colleagues look at the sham of a process that they're running and note if they want to get a bad story out about the president, all they need to do is make a false allegation. The story will be written. It'll be refuted a day or 2 or 3 days later, but the damage is done. And that's what the Democrat playbook has been, and they've got a willing press that's going along with it. They're literally sitting outside the room. The entire United States press, over 50 members of the press sitting outside the room waiting for leaks from Adam Schiff. And they'll get whatever they want to write a bad story, and it's refuted later, but the damage is done.
Well, Congressman Scalise, I know you've got to go because you are in great demand among the media, but let me ask you this. Is a single Republican going to vote for impeachment? And if someone does, what are the consequences for that traitor?
Well, it's my hope that the answer is none. And again, it should always go back to the facts. They haven't presented one fact that shows an article of impeachment that reaches that standard of high crimes and misdemeanors. And as long as everybody uses that standard when they're voting, nobody should vote for impeachment, Republican or Democrat. But as we've talked about, these Democrats are looking for an excuse to vote yes because they're afraid of their radical left base. And so they'll have something to justify a yes vote, even though there are no high crimes and misdemeanors. On our side, I hope that number's zero because I've not seen an ounce of evidence. Again, the Mueller investigation, Mueller had every authority to bring charges against the president, whether it was for collusion with Russia or obstruction of justice, and he found none of it. Not a single charge was brought forward.
Congressman Scalise, I know you have to go. What are the consequences to a Republican who votes for impeachment?
Well, the consequences to anybody are that we're held accountable at the end of each 2-year term, and Republican or Democrat. And keep in mind, these Democrats that are in these swing districts, for AOC, it might be a popular vote to go back home and say she voted to impeach the president, even though there are no charges. But there are a lot of Democrats that are going to be put in a position of likely voting yes, who aren't going to be able to go back home and explain that vote to a swing district of people who are going to look at the same way. You said you were going to be different. You were going to work with people. And all you did is go up there and focus on impeaching the president because they haven't accomplished a single thing. They have no accomplishments. They have actually more subpoenas that they've filed in this Democrat House majority than bills that have been signed into law that came out of the House. That's an embarrassing track record they're going to have to go defend next year. But again, all of us will be held accountable for the whole 2-year term at the end of the year next year.
Well, I think you need to make sure your caucus understands that we are going to hold them accountable because we are tired of backbiting, backstabbing alleged Republicans. That's the warning I'm giving you from the base, and the base is unbelievably clear about it. I know you have to go, Congressman Scalise. Oh, you got the last word.
You've seen a unified conference. We know the results of what this president has done to make people's lives better, to turn the economy around, to get regulations under control, and it's working. And that's the case the president's going to have to make next year to the American people, and it's a strong one, by the way. They're going to have to defend on the other side somebody like Elizabeth Warren, a socialist, who's going to be espousing radical policies like the Green New Deal, Medicare for all. Good luck with that, and I think that's what they're most afraid of. That's why they're trying this Soviet-style impeachment process.
And conservatives are extremely concerned that some Republicans will give aid and comfort to the people who want to impose socialism upon us. That's unacceptable. Please pass that message on. Congressman Steve Scalise on the front lines in the fight for freedom and the fight for due process. And we're going to keep fighting for you, too, here on the Hugh Hewitt Radio Show.